Today we're at Avi Kwa Ame National Monument. Now, this national monument is the newest national monument in the United States. It was established in March of 2023, and it preserves some of the most pristine eastern Mojave Desert that is left in the nation. Behind me, to the north, it preserves almost 500,000 acres of land, and it is some rugged territory that we're going to go out and take a look at today. There's only one road that goes through it. It's called the Christmas Tree Pass Road, and there are some petroglyphs at Grapevine Canyon that we are going to go and take a look at today and take a look at what the area has to offer. The area is overlain with a huge amount of geology that is in this area. The rocks right behind me, that you can see behind the sign, this is all part of Precambrian granite that's about 1.7 billion years old. So let's go on down Christmas Tree Pass Road and see what we can see and see if we can find these petroglyphs at Grapevine Canyon.
Here shortly, we're going to be leaving Nevada Highway 163 and turning north onto what is known as Christmas Tree Pass Road. This road will take us right through the heart of the Avi Kwa Ame National Monument and will take us to our first destination at Grapevine Canyon. The Avi Kwa Ame National Monument was created on March 21st, 2023, and is named after Avi Kwa Ame, also known as Spirit Mountain, which is visible from most of the monument. The mountain is considered sacred and is the site of creation for the Yuman tribes and is the most prominent peak of the Newberry Mountains at the southern tip of Nevada. The nearest community is Laughlin, Nevada, directly east of the monument. The monument is managed by the Bureau of Land Management and the National Park Service as it overlaps Lake Mead National Recreation Area. In recognition of indigenous influence in the area, the monument will have an advisory committee with a majority of members belonging to tribal nations, which will be involved in co-stewardship of the monument. The Grapevine Canyon Petroglyph site is located in the Bridge Canyon Wilderness Area and the Spirit Mountain Wilderness Area within the Avi Kwa Ame National Monument. The glyphs were created between 1100 and 1900 AD, with their meaning being lost over time. The petroglyphs extend through the canyon to the Grapevine Spring. However, a large concentration of petroglyphs can be observed at the entrance to the canyon. The area features over 700 petroglyphs and many rock shelters. The site was listed on the National Register of Historic Places on December 15, 1984, with mapping of the estimated 250 glyph panels being conducted in 2009. There are no services or water located at the stop, with the exception of a pair of vault toilets. From the parking lot, it's a short walk through Grapevine Canyon Wash until you get to the mouth of the canyon. The petroglyphs are located on both the right-hand side and the left-hand side of the canyon on rock faces, and they are scattered throughout the canyon. If you are adventuresome, you can continue to follow the wash up the canyon until you reach Grapevine Spring.
We are at the mouth of Grapevine Canyon, right at the base of Spirit Mountain here in Avi Kwa Ame. This area is incredibly sacred to the Yuman and the Numic speaking indigenous tribes in the area. This area has been utilized for centuries as a place and as a repository of all of these petroglyph panels that you're about ready to see as we venture up through the canyon. What makes it, I guess, so special is there are just so many, and the petroglyphs are very unique in the fact that they are geometric designs, geometric shapes that you typically don't see in other southwestern petroglyph panels. The interesting part about it is the petroglyphs have been pecked into the 1.7 billion year old granite because of the desert varnish that you can see here on the outside of the granite. As the granite weathers, manganese dioxide comes out of the granite, comes down the face of the granite, and it creates these black areas within the granite. And you can see that they have pecked into and put their petroglyph panels into the manganese dioxide or the desert varnish, which makes them stand out very, very prominently.
After exploring the petroglyphs and the petroglyph panels and taking a look at the rock shelters that are located at the mouth of the canyon, let's continue our adventures further up the canyon, shall we? During non-drought years, the canyon contains a freshwater spring. The spring provides water for the local flora and fauna of the desert. Currently, as we will see shortly, the spring has been reduced to little more than a patch of wet earth tucked under some large boulders. Right here we're at the source of Grapevine Spring, and during the summer months all of these dead vines that you can see in the foreground here, these are wild grapes, hence the name Grapevine Canyon. But more importantly, in the rocks that you can see in the background here, you can see the granite, which is 1.7 billion years old. It's Precambrian in age. Right underneath it is a dark layer. These are basalt dikes that were shot into the granite during the Precambrian and now have been metamorphosed and changed through time. The monument protects portions of the Newberry Mountains, the El Dorado Mountains, New York Mountains, and Dead Mountains, as well as most of the Paiute and El Dorado valleys which separate them. The monument includes 5 wilderness areas and borders Lake Mead National Recreation Area, Mojave Trails National Monument, Mojave National Preserve, and Castle Mountains National Monument, creating a large protected area of the eastern Mojave Desert. The monument also protects the desert bighorn sheep, desert tortoise, and golden eagle, which all make their home here. The majority of the area was designated as the Paiute El Dorado Area of Critical Environmental Concern in 1996 to conserve critical habitat for the threatened desert tortoise. Additionally, the Mojave Desert has more than 200 endemic plant species, including the teddy bear cholla cactus. But don't be fooled by the name. This cactus is vicious. We stopped here to take a look at the granite up close that forms the core of the Avi Kwa Ame National Monument. It's a white granite, and the granite is about 1.5 billion years old, plus or minus a few years. Over that time, however,
a lot can happen to a granite body. I mean, it's been 1.5 billion years. When granite is first in place underground, you would never see this erupt out onto the surface. It's actually, it forms by a massive molten material that gets emplaced into the rock around it, and it forms what's known as a batholith. A batholith is a very large area, greater than 100 square kilometers in size, of where the molten material comes in, it's emplaced, it sits there, it cools, and it forms this massive granite body underground. Now, granite and these batholiths are made up of smaller areas called stocks. And stocks are generally areas that are 100 square kilometers or less. So you can have a granite batholith that's made up of multiple stocks. Now, there's other plutons that are out there as well. I mean, you got laccoliths. Laccoliths are areas where molten material is injected and it bulges up the surface of the ground. And then you have lopoliths, where you have molten material that's injected and it forms a saucer-like bottom with a flat top, and it's all underground. I mean, there is a whole bunch of variations. But here you have a portion of a granite batholith that was emplaced 1.5 billion years ago, plus or minus a couple of years. Now, granite erodes in a unique way. It's called exfoliation. Great big huge sheets of this batholith, because as it's emplaced, it sort of bulges up the surface, and so it peels like a layer of an onion, okay? And it's called exfoliation. And these exfoliation sheets, here is one of these planes right here, that as it exfoliates, it breaks away and forms smaller and smaller chunks. Now, it's been 1.5 billion years sitting on the surface. There's a lot of rainwater that happens, and occasionally it does snow in the Mojave Desert, but keep in mind the climate hasn't always been the way it is right now in the Mojave Desert. So over 1.5 billion years, rainwater circulates down through here, percolates down through, and it breaks down the minerals that are inside the granite. Now, the quartz is much harder and the feldspars are much softer. When the rainwater comes in contact with the feldspars, it turns the feldspars to clay, and the quartz chunks erode out, and it forms what's known as gruss. And gruss is decomposed granite. Also in this area, you can see this black sort of outside coating on the granite. This is called desert varnish. There's two ideas now on how desert varnish forms. Back in the day when I was a puppy geologist still in school, they used to tell us that the manganese dioxide that forms the desert varnish actually came from the granite. Granite does have a little bit of manganese in it. So as the water came down, it would actually circulate down through the granite. As it would come out through the face of the granite, it would deposit the manganese dioxide and it would form this black surface. There's another idea out there now that the manganese actually may come from the rainwater as it splashes and coats the outside portion of the granite. So either which way, manganese dioxide coats the surface of the granite, and it forms this dark layering that if you are so inclined to put petroglyphs into a rock, like what we saw down at Grapevine Canyon, that would make a great area to peck the petroglyphs into the granite, and you would be able to see basically the designs that you were putting in there against the black of the desert varnish and the white of the granite.
continuing towards Christmas Tree Pass, we quickly gain elevation from roughly 2,300 feet to nearly 4,000 feet above sea level. The landscape changes from classic Mojave Desert to Juniper Forest. The pass is where you will find the Spirit Mountain Trailhead if you're so inclined to bag a summit while in the area. Spirit Mountain has an elevation of 5,642 feet with a round-trip trail to the summit of 3.8 miles. Hiking during the summer months could prove deadly due to the extreme temperatures in the Mojave Desert. So make sure that you are prepared with lots of water and that you would probably want to do it during the winter months. The views of the surrounding landscape near the pass are spectacular. The granite core of the Newberry Mountains is exposed in dramatic fashion and the vistas are unmatched. The beauty of the desert really unfolds before your eyes. From this location, you look east towards Lake Mohave, Laughlin, Nevada, and the Black Mountains of Arizona. The mountains to the east are mineral rich and part of the Oatman Mining District. By 1916, over 200 mines were producing gold and silver in the area. Today, there is limited mineral extraction with only a handful of mines in operation. Tourism is the focus of the local economy. Once you arrive at Christmas Tree Pass, you will find that there is a small pull-through parking area. Make sure that you stop here and get out and enjoy the incredible vistas that you will be greeted with, especially if it's a clear day. Today we had a little bit of overcast conditions, but the views were absolutely still spectacular. This is also a great spot to get out, stretch your legs, have a little bit of lunch, and just generally enjoy the company that you have with you in the car if you've brought anybody along on today's little adventure. It just so happens that today I was very fortunate that I was traveling with my wife, my daughter, and my 96-year-old World War II veteran father. He still loves getting out in the wild, and he definitely loves going on these adventures with me. And so today was just a spectacular time to be able to get out and enjoy his company up on Christmas Tree Pass. You know, these moments are fleeting, and when you have an opportunity to spend time with loved ones, seize the opportunity. You just never know when it might be the last, or it just feels good to be able to share experiences with everybody that you care about. Okay, here we are up at Christmas Tree Pass in Avi Kwa Ame National Monument. According to the local stories in the area, back around the turn of the century and going up until the 1960s, 1970s, and probably even a little bit even today, people would come up here because the Mojave Desert is not really well known as a vast forest area. It doesn't have a lot of pine trees. And so during the Christmas season, it's kind of hard to decorate a cactus. So what they would do is they would come up here, they would find these junipers up on top of Christmas Tree Pass at an elevation of around 5,000 feet, and they would decorate the juniper trees. And here you can kind of see some that have been left over from years in past, and you know, here's a snowflake, and here's a pine cone that's been added, a little Christmas ball decoration down here. And you know, as the old movie It's a Wonderful Life, there's even a bell. So and every time the bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Before you leave the higher altitude of 3,000 feet, enjoy the occasional pinyon pine tree you will see alongside the road. They stand out prominently next to the smaller juniper trees. The area is also home to the alien-looking desert trumpet plant, whose swelled stem was thought to have been caused by egg-laying insects. However, recent studies from the University of Maryland suggest the swelling is due to high concentrations of carbon dioxide in the solid stem and seems to be related to gas regulation. The third leg of our adventure continues as the road heads west from Christmas Tree Pass to connect with Nevada Highway 95, where you will have the option to turn north to seek your riches in Las Vegas, Nevada, or south to seek adventure in Needles, California. This was, by far, the roughest section of the road as you descend to the desert floor. The western side of the Newberry Mountains definitely get hit with incoming rainstorms, making the road a little washed out in areas and exposed rocks in other areas. We still manage quite well in our car with only highway tires. From this location, you get your first brief glimpse of the Castle Mountains and the Castle Mountain National Monument. This is where the road exits the Newberry Mountains and returns you to the desert floor, leaving the granite spires behind.
This sign marks the end of our 7.5 mile loop through Avi Kwa Ame National Monument. I hope you've enjoyed our little adventure today. If you have, please let me know in the comments. What did you enjoy the most? What's the little local story about Christmas Tree Pass and how they used to decorate the juniper trees? Or was it the petroglyphs? You know, the petroglyphs in this area are absolutely stunning and fantastic. So if you ever get a chance to investigate Grapevine Canyon, it is well worth the trip. Please let me know. I'd like to hear about it. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already done so. I certainly would appreciate it. Well, until next time, don't take a trip. Let the trip take you. I'll be seeing you on down the road.